Hello everybody, welcome back to another Thursday Things. Just let my technology catch up with me and I'll be right with you on both Instagram and on Facebook. There we go, perfect. So hello everybody, today's Thursday Things is all about the weather turns. So hello everybody, those who haven't met me before, my name's Marianne and I'm the founder of Naturally Wilor, which is a source of information to help you to heal your horse, mind, body and soul. Naturally. So as I said, today is all about the weather turn. So I don't know about you, but I've started to notice there's a few indicators that we're heading into autumn, summer is leaving the building and winter is knocking at the door. So if I go through and I just talk about the implications of autumn being on its way, what that means for me, what that means for my herd and what it means for everything else that I got going on. So firstly, for my herd, they're already starting to molt, i.e. chucking off their summer coat and heading for the winter coat. They're getting nice and fluffy. And it's at that weird stage at the moment where sometimes we've got the odd warm day like we've had today, which is why I got a sleeveless top on. But some days it's quite cold, especially at night, and you notice sometimes in the mornings or even in the evenings there's a little bit of a mist across the fields. And you're like, oh, here comes autumn. It's going to be a cold night tonight. Is everybody going to be warm enough? And yeah, so they're starting to get a bit fluffy to compensate for some of the old cold nights. And the Major's already in his, like, you need to just rub me mode. Because he's 29 and if it rains on him, he gets a little bit achy in his muscles. So this is the time of year where he needs the most massages. So especially along his back near his withers, he's high withered, so they get quite exposed, I think, compared to other horses that don't have high withers. So I end up rubbing the muscles round his withers and down his back, you know, all of the points that are a bit more vulnerable, I suppose. Generally the bits that I sit on, which isn't the greatest thing, but I always give him a massage when he asks for it as best I can. Sometimes I've got youngsters in my ear going, scratch me! So sometimes the Major going, excuse me, I need a massage, is not an immediate answer from me going, okay. But I do the best I can and I think he understands that. But if he's anything like he was last winter, he is not going to accept a rug. He is allowed to express his opinion these days compared to when I had him at livery. I actually show him his rug and go, do you want this? And if he walks off, I know he's a no. If he stands there, I put it next to his back. If he puts his ear back, I know it's a no. If he still, then I whack it on his back and I look at his face. If the ear's gone back and he's dancing, you know that it's a no, get off. And then I try and do his straps up, and if he tries to bite me, I know it's a no. And if at any point it's a no, I take it off and walk off with it. And he gets that. And the only time where he is really accepting of a rug is when it's a Waffle rug and he's damp. So if it's wet and it's cold, I chuck the Waffle rug on him to help soak up some of that moisture so that he can dry off better himself. And I do it with the rest of the herd. When it's the middle of winter and it's peed down with rain, it's freaking freezing, they've come in, they're all looking a bit drab and a bit grumpy and a bit, I want some food. That's when I put the Waffle rugs on. And they really seem to appreciate it. And I don't do them up, they can chop them off at any time that they want to, and they start poking me when they want it off, so it's a very good feedback. So I've got off a little bit of a tangent there. But, you know, it's that sort of mindset that I'm going into of, okay, oh, my Waffle rug's okay. Have they been eaten by mice while I haven't been looking, or rats and while they're in my tack room? Because we're having a bit of a battle at the moment with mice in my tack room. I caught 2 yesterday, 2 the day before, 1 the day before that, all in my tack room. I'm like, oh, that's 5 mices in my tack room. And there's another one in there because we've seen it in the guinea pig cage. You know, you open the door and you go, yeah, I saw you. I saw you. So what we've got is a humane trap. So you put food in one end and there's a little trigger which puts the door down. It just holds them in there. And all I do is walk up the fields to the furthest point that I feel possible at the time, with lots and lots of cover, and just set them free to go about their business in the world where they're supposed to be, rather than in my tech room eating my maid's bucket or chewing on things, or in my guinea pig cage, which isn't great because little Peppermint is not doing well at the moment. So we don't know if it's the mice that's affected him, like the pee or poop in the cage, or whether it's something else that's affected him. We don't know, but at the moment he's on a downhill, which isn't great. But then he only lost his friend last year, so maybe it's just his time, but we will see. So also, when it comes to thinking about autumn/winter with my herd, I'm also on the, what am I going to feed them this winter? Now, I've got in all the hay that I wanted to, and I've got in probably a little bit more than I wanted to, which is great. So I've got the stores of it. I'm still using last year's hay at the moment, so that will probably last me, I hope, until November, and then by then my hay will be ready and have done its proving, or whatever you want to call it, in the barn, so that I can then start feeding the variety, because I have 3 different types of hay. I have our hay, which we bought in ourselves, which I spoke about, and you can see the YouTube videos about me bringing it in and all the prep work that goes in beforehand and all the hard work afterwards about bringing it in. I also have, this year I've got wrapped bales of hay, which last year I had some as well, and I was a bit not entirely certain about this because they seem to be a bit itchy and a little bit, something's not right. And this year I've only got half the amount that I had I've had half the amount that I had last year, and he has actually confirmed to me that he does spray it with weed killer, and like, maybe that's got something to do with it, because chemicals seem to affect the major, and he loses weight quite quickly if I'm not careful, especially if somebody's been spraying their crop nearby. It's like, oh no. And with Egypt's asthma at the moment, it's not something that I want to be battling with. So I'm going to be using that sparingly. And actually, in the middle of winter, when it's frigging freezing, I think the wrapped hay is the best thing that I bought last year, because they do really like it, because being it wrapped, it holds in the nutrition. So I feel as though it's more nourishing, and they seem to eat a single net and go poof. You're like, ah, there we go. Oh, there's some of your summer weight back on, because it's, you know, middle of winter. We want you to be holding your weight a bit, especially if you're a major and you're a little bit older, or the babies and they're growing, and you're like, oh my god, stop growing in the middle of winter, it's not good for you. So I've got the hay sorted, but obviously the major is on 4 buckets a day of the Thunderbox hay cobs. The Thunderbox Obs X is on linseed, as well as salt and the Thunderbox Daily Essentials. So he has that 4 times a day. So I need to start thinking about whether having the amounts that he does is enough to get him through the winter. It's going to be trial and error. But I've also got to start thinking of how I'm going to get it in, because last year there was a few days when we couldn't really go anywhere. So are we going to have to order the major's food in? And I do like to have a few varieties of feeds available for the herd as well. So on those evenings when I know it's really freaking cold and they've been wet and they're miserable and they're hungry and the hay just won't cut it because they need just that little bit more nutrition, I know that I can give them some of the, oh, what's it called? Anyway, some of the other Thunderbox feed. I like feeding Thunderbox. I know that people went through a phase of Thunderbox and then they're against Thunderbox, but they seem to, my herd seem to enjoy it, and it seems to do their stomachs a lot of good, so that's what I continue to do. But I usually use a little bit of feed as a carrier for the Daily Essentials to give everybody just that not nutrient boost, but vitamin and mineral boost, and they seem to really appreciate it. So that's what we're going to continue to do, but I need to start thinking about getting in a stock, which means I need to figure out where I'm going to store this stock, where the mice aren't going to get at it. But hopefully by the time I get to thinking, well, getting in that sort of thing, the mice will be gone. And I'll just keep the trap down and filled, and if anything comes in, then they got somewhere to go. So also when it comes to thinking about the the weather change, I gotta think about mud. Because I live on a heath, or the herd live on a heath, which means it gets quite wet, which means we got mud. Now last year I just went, you know what, you guys can cope with this, you'll be fine. And they did. You know, poor little Spring was up to her hocks in mud. But she was fine, she coped with it, she's a Shetland, she got it. And I thought, you know what, this is what I like to see. Nobody's got any mud fever, nobody's got any real issues with their feet. I mean, Helen, the equine podiatrist that I've got, you want to check out her interview, it is on the YouTube channel. I had a good conversation with her about stuff. But she was like, yeah, these are great feet. Okay, they're growing faster because they're not really got much to wear, as in not much wearing going on because they were mostly in the fields, and I suppose I did take them out the odd occasion onto the roads, but mostly it was just like, can we brush you? Can you do a few mini activities? Cool, you're done, thanks. So they didn't really get too much wear on their hooves, which meant they grew a bit faster, but yeah, that's fine. But I've got to be aware of the mud, where it's going to be, which brings me on to my next section, which is all about my track system. So I need to plan where the mud's going to be, plan the bits that usually get a bit flooded, plan which fields I'm going to sacrifice, with which bits of track am I going to open up, which bits am I going to keep closed this year, and just all that. And not to mention, think about the equipment that I've got this year, because little pagan has figured out how to pull up electric fence posts. Yeah, so I've got extra lines of electric on my standard 4-foots, which means that I gotta think, what am I going to do? Because previously that electric fence, that electric wire, that electric tape would have done all the fields that I need to on the track. Whereas now, because I've got the extra on the single fences, so we've got 3 lines of electric rather than 2, so that Pagan doesn't pull them out and go for a hoolie in the middle of the fields and make herself sick because she doesn't do well on grass. I've now got to reallocate and reconsider and replan my track system so that I don't have that happen. So I've got to keep that in mind. So this summer, when I took back the track to just a single field, I've kept them in that single field for a lot longer, because we were doing a little bit of work on one of the drainage ditches in one of the fields next to that single field with the track in, and I thought there's no point putting it up to then take it down so that I can do what we need to do and then put it back up again. And I thought, you know what, you lot can stay there. So they're on, I think it's about 2.5, 3 acre field. No, 2.5. I feel like it's 2.5. Something like that. So they're on this single field on a single track, and they've been doing a lot better than I thought I would. I was thinking, oh my god, you're used to going across a track across 6 acres and you're going across 2. Are you okay? Are you going to go stir crazy? And actually they didn't, other than Pagan learning how to pull up electric fence posts so that she can, yeah, just be a youngster and eat grass and then make herself feel sick. Why not? Yeah, I'd do the same if I was, you know, her age and there was chocolate in the middle. So I don't blame her. I don't blame her. I just have to think of other ways to stop her. So they've been in that single field for a while and they've been fine. So it's making me think that actually I don't have to make the track as big, so I can do it in longer stages of putting the track back up. So I'm thinking about opening up the track on the next field, so that's going to be great for them. And perhaps I'll leave it like that for a month or 2, and then when that track is really, really muddy or something, then I can always open up another field track system, and then they can go on that and wreck that for a bit, and so that the tracks don't get all muddy at the same time. And it means that I then don't have to start sacrificing the actual fields, because then that affects my grass growth, which affects my hay yield next year. So I'm just trying to play about this year, I think, about what I want to do and where I want them to be, and I'm going to try and put them in a field that they don't usually go in on the track. So I'm going to create a track around that field, so it's going to be fun because I've got neighbours to worry about in that field, so I need to think about protecting their fence so that I go and get fat booticuses sat on it and breaking it, and then I'll be in trouble with the neighbours, which is never fun. Never fun. So I've also got to be, when it comes to the track system, I've got to think about what work we've got to be doing over the winter. You know, there's always a long list of things that need doing over the winter, all the things that you don't want to do over the summer, like taking certain trees down, laying some hedges, all of the other bits and pieces, mending fences that aforementioned big fat booticuses are broken. So I know that we've got to take down some really big sycamore trees because they keep sending out helicopters, and it's like, I don't want you producing seeds. I don't want to be constantly pulling sycamores out of the ground or having it in my hay, because I'm very aware of the mutated version of sycamores that kill your horses in a very short space of time, and I don't want that to happen. So to keep my horses safe, we're going to be taking down some sycamores. Now, we did some last year as well, and I think we did some the year before. Either way, we'll be taking down some more sycamores. We've got hawthorns that are currently trees, which are supposed to be hedges, so those are going to be coming down a bit more so that we can start having hedges everywhere rather than fences, because fences break with fat booties, whereas hedges, they don't put their booties on it because it's spiky. And it's also extra nutrition for them. All the hedgerow things have got great nutrition, and I'm really selectively picking what I'm going to have as my hedgerow plants. My mother is absolutely amazing at propagating willows, so we've got some willows that she's homegrown from cuttings, so that's awesome. My mother is very good at picking up little baby hawthorns that have grown in the wrong place, and she transplants them where she's supposed to be and loves them till they grow. So we're going to have some really good hedges going soon. And then there's no fences that get broken, which we have to fix, because there's nothing worse than waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to find your horses by your car. And you go, no, it's too early, get back in the field, wake me up at 7 or 8, or wait until I come down to feed you, and go, oh look, can I just break this? And then I can get, no. Else I end up putting really zappy electric everywhere, and that's not nice. But, you know, that's what you get for waking me up at 5 o'clock in the morning, breaking fences. But, yeah, to solve that issue, and to not have to have electric everywhere, which means I can then use it for tracking rather than for protecting fences, hedges are very welcome. So we're working on those, so that anything that's a tree that's not supposed to be a tree is going to be chopped down until it's the right level for a hedge, and then encouraged to grow as a hedge, as well as other things being put in the ground to make a hedge. So all of these things have got in my brain that I've got to have on my mind whilst I'm trying to figure out where the horses are going to be over the winter. Now, I know that I'm quite lucky and that I've got several fields that I can plan for them to be in, but, you know, even if you've got just a single field and you've got a track round it, well, you section off bits and pieces, don't you? Or you get, that area gets a bit boggy, so let's not have you over there, and, oh, I've got to deal with that tree, so let's chop off that section of your track system. Or create a little bit of a, I don't know, figure eight or something so you're not as close to it, or, you know, there's so many things that can be done. It's so much fun playing with track systems. I absolutely love it. And bless my mother, sometimes I go out and I'm like, can we change this track? And I'm like, yes. Or, oh, I want to put a track system up in here. Okay. Yay, mummy, yay. Oh, mothers are great, aren't they? So helpful, and just, yeah, so much love for mine. And we've also got to be aware of the work that's being done at the moment. You know, we've got a bit of work being done at the front of our house, so I've got to be aware that I don't want horses tracking near what's going on, just in case the people don't realise that the horses are there and, I don't know, turn the digger around. I don't want to get Egypt's face smacked because he's not realised that there's a digger coming round at him, or, you know, anything like that. Or you put up electric fence near it and they, you know, pagan pulls it down because that's who pagan is. And then I've got horses on the front garden while there's workmen. So, yes, So I'm trying to also plan for the track not being near where work's going to be done, whether it's being done by us or whether it's being done by other people. And also, autumn, going outside, makes me think about me. No, yes, okay, I've thought about my horses, the molting, the feed, the track system, the equipment for the track system, the work being done. But there's also me as well. As soon as the weather's like changed, I was like, I need a jumper. Where's my coat? And Mum's like, it's hot outside, what are you doing? I don't know, it feels like autumn, so I want to put a coat on. It's weird, isn't it? I don't know about anybody else, but as soon as that weather starts to change, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be cold. And it's just a stupid thing to be thinking, but I am, and I'm going to be cold. And it also means that I've had to go buy new wellies. I tend to go through a pair of wellies a year. I don't know about anybody else, but I just do. By the time it gets to about the start of spring, I start to get little cracks in the wellies, and then they become holes. At the moment, I've got a big fissure at the heel, and I've got one at the point of my toe. So at the moment, going across dewy grass, I get a bit of a wet sock. But knowing that we're going to be going into autumny winter means that there's going to be water around, there's going to be puddles, there's going to be lots of mud. So I had to get new wellies in preparation, which, yeah. I go for the cheap wellies because I know that whether it's cheap or expensive, I break them because I wear them so much, because I wear them Sundays and Saturdays all day. I'm in them in the mornings during the week, I'm in them at lunchtime during the week, I'm in them at the evenings during the week, so they get worn a lot, which means they get broken on a yearly basis. So I've had to get new wellies. And I've also had to plan what I'm going to be doing for cold and wet me. So that means checking my coat. Have you ever thought of that? Have you ever thought, oh, I've got to check my coat because it's going to be wet? Because I didn't think that before. I used to be all, oh, okay, it's a coat. What does it matter? Or, I don't know. I've had to plan or think about these things. And also, I need to start getting videos done, because I don't want to be standing out in the pouring rain or trying to record a video for you guys for my YouTube channel in the pouring rain. Or when it's frigging freezing, you don't want to be balaclavaed up and not be able to hear what I'm saying because it's muffled behind several scarves, because I feel the cold. And being the green witch that I am, I'm like, the world's going to sleep, so I want to sleep. So I don't want to do as much over the winter. I don't have this lively energy that I got right now. So I'm trying to get videos recorded for you as well. And also, the things that I'm trying to record, some of them are not going to be there during the winter. Like certain plants and certain things that I'm doing, they're just not going to be there. So I'm in a rush to get those sorted as well. So yes, with the autumn coming, with the weather turning, there's so many things that I've had to think about and change tact on and consider and plan. And most people don't think about these things, but I think I do go over the top with it. But it's also fun. I love my horses, and I hope you do as well, and you think of these things and how you're going to plan for when it freezes and what feed you're going to feed, and have you got enough hay, and yeah. So there we go. So that's my thoughts on the weather turning. I hope that everybody got anything to say? If so, speak now, forever hold your peace. If not, I will bring it to a close. So this is going up on the YouTube channel in 2 weeks' time. There's plenty of videos over there to go and watch. Make sure you're subscribed and click the bell icon to get notification for all future videos. And you're going to want to do that because I've got loads planned for you, some great things. Those of you who aren't on the Facebook page, check it out. Join the Facebook group. And also, don't forget to find us on Instagram, we're _Wilor, for extra daily updates on the herd. I'll see you all next week for my next Thursday things. I'll see you then. Bye.